If you're a woman watching this and you want to go get all the willy waggles that you want in the world, nobody's stopping you. And if you're a man watching this and you want to go get all the premium packages to the pink palaces in the world, you go for it, brother. But guess what? I'm not going to be condoning that kind of behavior for either side on this kind of channel, and I don't really think that that's going to be something that is going to be sustainable for the long term. For society, for you, for anybody really. And so with that being said, I do want to talk about today how male nature is just as cunning as female nature in some ways. But I think overall female nature is a bit more manipulative and deceptive. And I'm not necessarily saying that women are worse than men or anything like that. I'm just saying that as far as the way that intersexual dynamics work, males are going to be a lot more direct, whereas females, they almost have to be deceptive by nature. And they are deceptive by nature, but they have to be as well. That's the greatest way they're going to get protection and safety. And it's necessary for people to understand that a man needs nurturing just as much as a woman needs safety. If a woman doesn't feel safe, well, it's going to be hard for her to get into her femininity, right? Well, if a man doesn't feel supported and nurtured, then he's not going to be able to feel like he can go out and do what he wants to do. And a lot of the times in our society today, the main reason that we're having so many relationship issues is because nobody seems to want to pull themselves up. And it's not about just getting your stuff together or pulling yourself up by the bootstraps. It's about getting your insides right more than anything else. It's about getting the insides right. And so many people want to neglect that. They want to focus on the materials. They want to focus on what they can get. They want to focus on what they can perceive to have value from and materialistically value things. It's almost like people know the cost of a lot of different things, but they don't know the true value of it. For example, today, and this is just an example of female nature before we get more into the male nature, but there was a female talking to one of her girlfriends at the gym this morning, and this woman is very attractive. Okay, she doesn't act like she's single though. she doesn't act like she's in a relationship though, but she is married. She acts like she's single, and she definitely is attractive. Okay, but you can tell that her soul is just not right. But just the way that she talks, you can tell, just by the way she talks. And she was talking to her girlfriend about how her husband last night got laid off from his job and he wanted to cuddle with her. And she said she felt so disgusted by her husband being laid off that she, quote, let him cuddle her. And now he doesn't have anything going for his life. He doesn't have anything going for his life, and now all of a sudden she's completely lost respect for this man overnight. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I've heard a lot of people getting laid off recently, and a lot of people are getting either replaced by AI or they're getting replaced by jobs overseas. People are getting their jobs replaced by people overseas. The jobs in America anyway are leaving to other countries because they're cheaper, quote unquote, right? So we've got that to deal with in of itself. But then you have women like this who you can tell that just by her wording, I let him cuddle with me. She is done. She is done with the relationship. She is like done. And the way she was talking to her girlfriend, it was kind of bitchy, to be honest. I'm not going to lie to you. And I'm not going to try to sugarcoat this, and excuse my French there, but the way that she was talking was just a lot of complaints. A lot of complaints. And this is a woman that is very attractive, okay? So either she picked the wrong guy, or she has already she's picked multiple wrong guys, and this is the beta that was left for her. And I would never date this woman, even though she's attractive, just by the way she talks. Even if she wasn't married, I would never have. by the way she talks, no way, because that's a lot of complaining, and that's all she does. And this wasn't the first time I've heard stuff about her talking about things, because she happens to go to the gym at a certain time on certain days that I do, and she talks a lot to her girlfriends there, like most girls do at the gym. And I don't think the gym is necessarily a bad place for that kind of stuff, but look, men are going to do something very similar. When they don't feel like they have that providing, protection, and nurturing there, or they don't feel like they have the nurturing, they can't provide and protect. This woman is unable to nurture. She's unable to. She's so busy focused about herself and what she's allowing the man in her life to do for her and do to her. And this is just one example, okay? This is just one example. But a woman like that is going to be nothing but a headache for a man that actually has his stuff together, or at least is striving to get his stuff together. And you don't even, the craziest thing is you don't even have to be like the best of the best nowadays for women to assume as a woman you deserve the best of the best for a man. And even though this woman is very attractive on the outside, her soul is not right. There is nothing but disgust and really a repudiation for protection at the soul of her spirit, and at the core of her spirit rather, and her soul, I suppose. But men, on the other hand, when men feel disrespected like this, I don't know if this guy does, but any man worth his salt, if there's a woman out there that is throwing herself his way and he's in a relationship and things are spicy between the man and the woman, guess what? That man is probably going to cheat. And all of the people, and I'm not saying that I would, I'm not saying that I condone that kind of behavior, I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying that if a man doesn't feel like he's getting nourished in his soul and spirit from a woman, he's going to be way more likely to cheat. Way more likely. And it baffles me how so many of these women think that the men are always the blame. Like, there's so much pressure to be put on men. There's so much pressure, and rightfully so, but all of the pressure? Really? It's no wonder why women chase after the Chad and Tyrone, whatever, right? And I don't like even saying that kind of stuff, but it is the truth to some extent. It is the truth. And so, you know, when a man doesn't feel like he's getting that nourishment, he's gonna go somewhere else. And it's not even because I am starting to believe that men don't pair bond the same way women do. I don't think so. And I could be wrong about this, but there's not enough scientifically backed evidence to prove me otherwise one way or another, so it's all hearsay. But hear me out for a second. I'm starting to think that men get their pair bonding by them investing into the relationship emotionally. That's one of the reasons why men can go screw any woman they want and not feel certain things, even though they just need to get their rocks off. And I'm not saying this is right, because here on this channel we follow Christ, and I'm going to advocate for everybody to follow God's laws, statutes, and commandments. I just want to make sure that we try to understand the bigger picture here. So a man can get his rocks off. He can get that premium package to the Pink Palace. He can go somewhere else. but he is going to come back to the woman that he feels like can nourish his soul and spirit the most. Whereas women, it's almost like, of course they're going to pair bond when they get emotionally involved, but I think that it's far more psychophysiological for women than it is for men. Because when a woman can cheat, for example, far before they're physical, whereas a man doesn't really cheat until he's emotionally invested. And that's exactly one of the reasons why women, if they do catch a man cheating, they usually ask something like, well, do you love her? Do you care about her? Whereas with the men, if a man just finds out you talked to another guy and flirted with him for more than 5 minutes and gave him that kind of attention, that's cheating. Okay, by the way, that's cheating in my book. And so, and I can see that in many other relationships that's happened, and men have not been okay with that. And they shouldn't be. They shouldn't be. A woman doesn't need to be talking to multiple men flirtatiously while she's in a relationship. And if she does, she's not satisfied in the relationship. Much like this woman that I gave the example of, okay? So I wanted to make sure that we cover some ground, and I wanted to make sure we stay grounded in this, but you needed some background information about what's actually going on here. Okay, so now that we understood that, what do we do about this? How do we move forward? Well, women, make sure your man is spiritually nourished. Of course, we want you to look good. Of course, we want you to stay healthy, fit. The 3 F's, fit, friendly, and, I guess it's FFC, fit, friendly, and cooperative. Now, I like to say warm, inviting, feminine, empathetic. That's my criteria personally. And for men, they've got to be godlike savages that are capable of going out and doing what they need to do and doing what they have to do to further increase the likelihood that they're going to see success, not just in their lives, but for the people around them. Because if they don't, they're not going to be building anything or creating or being the hunters that they need to be. A man that cannot hunt, this is one of the reasons why money is so important for women nowadays. It didn't used to be like this. And I know because my grandma had told me stories about what happened with their relationship with my grandpa. As soon as she was talking to my grandpa, she turned away all of her other guys. Any guy called her house, and this was, any guy called her house or even just tried to get her to interact with him, and she would not do it. She told me that she completely, when she chose my grandpa and my grandpa chose her, that was it. And that wasn't too long ago. It was only like 50 years ago. But for some reason, I guess it was like 60 years ago, but still, like, that's not too long. It's not too long. And we've completely seen the transformation in how things interact now. Women view men like a side gig now, like a side hustle. And if they don't like the side hustle, they'll just, I'll go to a new, they treat men like careers. And it's really hard to watch sometimes because a man will invest and show and how much he's dedicated and how much he cares, all for that woman to just rip his heart out. All for him to just lose half of his stuff plus, and access to his family, his own blood that he created. Women are multipliers, right? Women are multipliers, men are the creators. And I don't mean that in any kind of derogatory way. And I understand people will have backlash and disagreements about that. But men are the ones that have the seed. We are the one that make the spark. Women are the multipliers of that spark. And there's nothing wrong with that. But men are the creators. And it's not to say that women can't be creative, but men are creators. And so men, they will, and don't get me wrong too, I've seen men that they will threaten to delete you if they catch you talking to her like his girl. I had a situation about Christmas last year where something like this happened. I told his wife, who I didn't know, like, I just saw this woman with a ring kept staring at me at the gym for like 3 months. And finally I got tired of it because there was a few things that happened and I just was not in a good mood. And I was like, I'm freaking sick of this crap. So I went over to her and I said, look, I see the way you're looking at me, but I also see the way that wedding ring is on your finger. And she was like, well, I'm happily married. I said, well, good, just making sure. And I walked away. A couple days later, all of a sudden this random guy who I've never seen before shows up and he starts talking to me and he threatens to beat my ass if I talk to his wife again. And I said to myself thinking like, dude, I did you a favor. I didn't say that, but I just was, all right, man, cool, we're clear. And I pretty much left it at that because I didn't need to do anything else. I didn't want to do anything else. I'm not that kind of guy. I was just trying to get this woman off me. And this is what happens when, like, let's say this, right? If I went and, because I transcended my male nature in that instance. Was she attractive? Absolutely. But I'm not like attracted to a woman like that. I can look at a woman on the outside and appreciate God's creation of beauty, right? But her soul is sinful and her soul is dark. I'm not attracted to that. And if I was in my dark triad traits, you could say, of male nature, I would have completely gone for it. In fact, I haven't been more prone to the possibility of being the side guy than I have since I started following Christ for some reason. I have no clue why. But it's like once I chose the holy path, and I said, I'm going to start to follow Jesus. I'm going to really commit to Jesus. Ever since then, it's like all of the temptations come out of the woodworks. And it's like, of course, because when I was willfully living in sin and I was trying to live in sin and I was trying to be a player and I was trying to do these things, of course, like nothing would happen. But all of a sudden when I choose the righteous path, now all of them were coming toward me. Now I can't get them off of me. Like, it's just, I don't think men understand how difficult it is to get rid of a woman that actually really wants you. Like, it's annoying. It can be annoying at times. And you got to really demonstrate that you're not screwing around. You're done. Because that's what she needs to hear. Like, we're done. Those are the words that she needs to be having a deep reverence for. And I guarantee you, like this example of the woman at the beginning who let her husband cuddle her, which is crazy. Like, that is just crazy. That's just crazy talk. But that guy, I think that guy's pussy whipped, to be honest. That guy's pussy whipped. There's no other explanation as far as I can tell. Because, and I pray for that guy. I pray for that guy to make the proper decisions. But, man, these are the things that happen. Like, this is real life experience. This is real things that are happening in the world. And I don't talk about anything that I haven't really experienced of or that I haven't seen or yeah, just really experienced in any way, shape, or form. And so men are going to do terrible things when they don't feel like they're being nurtured, when they don't feel like they're being cared for. And it's not necessarily to say that it's women's fault, but I'm not necessarily saying it isn't. I'm not saying it's men's fault, but I'm not necessarily saying it isn't either. It really is a cumulative effort on lack of leadership from men and lack of willingness to follow on women. And generally speaking, that is. And I think we're just to a point now to where, as a society, we've got to make choices that are going to, well, we're always going to be making choices, but we're at a point now to where the choices are going to very much dictate what route we take for generations to come. And it's going to take generations to heal the spiritual wounds that have happened over the last 20 to 50 years. But with all that being said, I hope this message was useful and insightful. And until next time, peace be with you.